Buongiorno. During some exchanges of messages with one of my subscribers, Gary. Hi Gary, I hope you're well. I have discovered that Gary's favorite food is cabbage, and today I will be making something which is cabbage based, but will be a hybrid between a frittata and a focaccia, and there will be three different fillings. So I'll be doing three different dishes. One will be a vegetarian one, which will have mostly cheese as filling. The second is a fish-based one, and I'll be using smoked salmon as the key ingredient. And the third one is for meat eaters, which will involve sausages and bacon. So let's make a start. I'll be using a white cabbage, and this is labeled as British Savoy cabbage. You can also use the smooth ones, but I would avoid using a red cabbage for this particular recipe. I purchased this yesterday and it is very fresh, so I'll start by removing the little bottom bit first, and I'll chop it in half first. I think they're beautiful inside, and look how interesting that is. But the first thing I'll do is to remove the core from the middle. I will not be using these for the recipe, but I will be eating them on their own later. I love them raw. And I'm now slicing it in little chunks or big chunks, and I'll go both ways. As this is very fresh, I'll be using it all, but sometimes if you keep them in the fridge for a long time before you cook them, you might want to remove 2 or 3 of the outer leaves. I will want to give this a quick rinse with some water, so I'm putting it into a pasta drainer and I will give it a quick wash. I've got a pot of water on the go and it's now boiling, and I will add my washed cabbage, and it will take approximately 8 to 10 minutes to cook, but also I put the lid on and it will cook even quicker. I'll turn the temperature down a little though. And 10 minutes on and the cabbage is ready, and you will know that it's ready because you can actually test it, and the crunchiness need to be nice and soft. Clearly it's very hot, so the first thing to do is to drain it, and I will be putting it back in my little pasta drainer. That's it, and it's done. I think I picked it all, and I will leave it now to cool down for a good 5 minutes. And as I will not want this to be too watery, what I do while it cools down, I actually place a nice large bowl underneath, and it drains and cools down at the same time. Cabbages have cooled down and I've transferred them into a glass bowl, and they are perfect, ready to be mixed with the other ingredients. And I'll start with a good couple of handfuls of cheddar cheese, which I've just grated, followed by 3 eggs. One of the reasons why it is important that the cabbage does cool down is because of the eggs, because I don't want them to cook clearly until it's time to cook them. I'm using 1 egg per 250 grams of raw cabbage, so if you were to do less you can adjust it accordingly. This is nutmeg, and I will be using a tiny little pinch, literally 1/4 of a teaspoon. Some salt, this is 1 teaspoon equivalent, and some pepper. This is the base for all 3 versions of my frittata focaccia, and this is a small handful of sunflower seeds I'm adding as well. You can also use pumpkin seeds or a mixture of both. I've just peeled a shallot, and you can also use an onion, a small onion, doesn't really matter. They are just as good, but I've got shallots left over, so I want to use them up. But it is important though that you do cut them really fine, regardless if it's onion or shallot. The onion or the shallot, whatever you use, will add a nice contrast and balance to the flavor against the cabbage, but it is not an essential ingredient. If you're not keen, you don't have to use it. And I think this is my last ingredient for my mix and the base. And I'll mix it together, and you can see, you can even hear it, that it's a little bit sloppy. So I add 1 or 2 tablespoons of strong white flour, the one that you use to make bread, but you can use also normal plain flour if you like. It's not that essential. Or you can even use breadcrumbs, that would be just as good as well. But the strong flour will give it more texture, but also more of a rustic flavor. Still too sloppy. I will put another couple of spoons. You will have to judge it depending on the size eggs you're using and how much water your cabbage retains, until you get it pretty much similar to what I'm actually getting here. That's it. I think looks good. Apology, there is one more ingredient, parsley. I nearly forgot, so I will add also a little parsley on the top, and that will be it, I promise. Wonderful, that's more like it. And as I am making 3 different versions, I have separated the mix into 3 different bowls. Clearly you do not need to do this if you make just the one version. And I've counted 6 dessert spoons per bowl, by the way. And I'll start with the vegetarian option first, so a little oil in a frying pan. This is 20 centimeters in diameter, by the way. I spread the oil across the base of my pan, and then I'll count 3 dessert spoons of my mix. 1, 2, and 3. And I'll tap it down. And I'll use a little bit more cheddar at the base, some Parmesan cheese as well. This is Edam, so I'm cutting 1 slice of it. Remember to remove the skin if you're using this cheese. And you do not have to use the same cheese I'm using, you can use any cheese you like, as long as it's nice and stringy though. And I'll position it in the middle. And I'll go back with the other half of the mix and cover the cheese. And I'll start it on the highest setting, number 9 at the moment, but as soon as you can see that there are some bubbles that come at the edge, turn it down. I'll turn mine on number 5, which is bang on in the middle, and I'll put the lid on, actually even lower, maybe number 4, and this will take about 5 minutes before I can turn it around. In the meantime, while that cooks, I'll get some of the other ingredients ready. So this is bacon, and I will fold a couple of rashes. I'll fold it in half and I'll cut it into little pieces. Also, I've got a couple of sausages and I will be removing the skin though, so that is very easy, as you've just seen. A little score with the knife, and just go through with your fingers, and the skin will come off very easy. Having said that, this one doesn't want to. That is unusually difficult. This sausage must be camera shy. Anyway, it's done now. And I'll put them on a frying pan and I'll cook them gently. I want to make sure that they are not raw when I cook them, because they do not cook for very long, and I want to make sure that they go in my frittata focaccia partly cooked at the very least. So after 5 minutes, let's have a look. If you look, it's still soft at the top, so it will need a little bit longer before I can turn it, but it has actually got a nice little base. I can put my spatula safely underneath, then I can see that it will work fine. So I'll just put the lid on for another minute maybe, and then I'll turn it. Before I turn it, I'll put a little olive oil on a plate, and this is to ensure that when the omelette is on top of it, it will slide nicely, as well as actually providing a good base for the other side for it to cook. Here's my frittata focaccia, and you should be able to move it, and then you will know that it's nice and loose at the bottom. Plate on top, and I'll turn it around, and hopefully, yes. And as I've put some oil at the bottom of my plate, I'll slide it back into the pan. And off on the hob again, maybe 4 minutes, so that the bottom gets a nice golden crust as well. And literally 4 minutes and it's done. You can see that it's again moving freely. So I will slide it on a plate and I'll leave it now to cool down while I go on with the others. I'll do the smoked salmon one next, and again I'm using the same pan, so no need to wash it up. With the salmon version, I'm going to keep it very simple, and I will just be adding smoked salmon and a little parsley in a moment. But I should have said, you can just do it as a normal omelette. You do not have to add anything. It will be just as delicious as well. There is parsley in the mix already anyway, but this is just to enhance the flavor of the salmon on its own. You can use other herbs, of course. You can use dill, or you can also put sage. Entirely up to you, but parsley goes very well with salmon. It did cross my mind to put some lemon in it, but then I thought I want to keep it fairly dry, so I might put some lemon at the end when I eat it, not while I'm cooking it. So the top layer is done, and off I go for take 2. Number 2, nearly done. Before I start the next one, I'll add a little oil as it's nearly all gone. The one thing I'm making sure, by the way, is that I am more generous maybe with some of the mix at the base, because clearly the first part of when you're cooking the frittata is more critical. So the good base is always a good place to start with. So here I'll use a little cheese. This is again some cheddar which I got left over, followed by again some Parmesan cheese. And here is my meat, which has cooled down now. I got sausages and bacon, and I'll put that on top as well. I'm gonna stay away from the edges because there is quite a bit here, and I want to make sure that it actually stays in the middle. And before I put the next layer of my frittata mix in, I'll pat it down with my hand to ensure that it's properly compacted. And having left a good inch away from the edge, I'm able to now spread this without any fear. And off I go for my third and final round. And here is number 3, which is just finished, and I will slide it next to the other ones, and I will leave it to rest also for 10 minutes before I have a look. And I'm ready. By the way, you can eat them hot, of course. The reason why I'm leaving them to rest is because we will be eating this this evening for our dinner, and also I've made 3. But if you're making 1, you can choose to eat it cold if you put it in the fridge, or you can eat it straight away. Entirely up to you, of course. But I'll also cut a little slice now to see what it looks like inside, and of course I will test a little. I'll make a start with the vegetarian one, as it is the coldest, has been resting the longest. And the colder it is, obviously the easier to cut into it. And let's have a look. There it is, it looks very nice. I'll do the salmon one next. Oh, that looks lovely. And lastly, the meat one. This is still a little bit warm, but it will be okay now. Let's have a look. And as expected, sausages and bacon and cheese. Oh, they all smell lovely. And time to have a look. I've actually put a little parsley on top to garnish. I'll start with the salmon one, which is really appealing. And I will not be adding anything on top. Right, on the salmon one, I will be eventually squeezing some lemon later. But you can put whatever sauces you like on any of them. But I like to keep them fairly simple. It's good. Do not put any salt, additional salt, because salmon is quite salty, but it's delicious. Let's have a crack at the vegetarian one. Oh, it feels a little bit denser because of the cheese, of course. Very cheesy. And because I used the soft cheese, it's still nice and soft inside. Delicious. And lastly, the meat one. This is still a little bit warm, but let's have a look. They're all delicious. Difficult to pick one out of them all. So thank you, Gary, for the suggestion. And if, like Gary, you've got any suggestions that you'd like me to cook something that you like, by all means send me a message, and I'll be very happy, delighted to see what I can do. Arrivederci, thank you for watching, and enjoy if you make it. Ciao ciao.